Welcome back. We're talking about the BBI report and what gifts it bears for entrepreneurs. Now, Dr. Eksen Iraqi is an economist, and I'd like to pick your brain on the cost of doing business. Did you see what it said? Do you think this is good for Kenya? Is this what we need?
Let's get the background of the cost of business in this country.
Yes.
Because if you look at some very big companies like Colgate and others have closed shop in Kenya.
Yes.
Instead of learning factories here, they have outsourced. So they make those products in other parts of the world, and they come and export here, and they come and distribute here. So all the jobs that were here that came from factories and so on are lost. So the cost of business is a very legitimate issue to address in BBI. But I don't think it needs to be taken to referendum. Because we know where of business come from. It is power, it is labor, it is the cost of not making decisions on time, the cost of it. So there are costs that come before you start a business and after you start a business. So what to do is to make Kenya a very attractive country, not just for the foreign investors, but also for local investors.
Yes.
And you need to look at something as basic as tourism. When COVID came, I took a trip to Mombasa and I found that the waiters who work in tourist resorts are nowadays very friendly to us, although we don't give them tips. And the reason is the foreigners have gone. Now we are foreigners, so we have become very important because we are the people keeping tourism on. So if we have to start manufacturing another business and make them expand and scale up, then we must start with the people who are here. And the people who are here are the small investors like you and me. So if we take care of them, their business are good and become multiple big companies like Toyota and so on.
Okay.
So I think it's very important for us to reduce the cost of doing business in this country because it has stopped a lot of people becoming entrepreneurs. And I'm sure Eunice will be able to tell you that it's sometimes very costly to do business in this country.
Yes, over to you, Eunice.
Yes, the cost of doing business in Kenya is very high. Let's even look at the agriculture sector. The cost of production is just too high. And therefore, many Kenyans are not able to compete in the global market. And from where I see it, yes, it's a very legitimate issue. And again, I still say it doesn't need referendum, just like Dr. said. It's something that we can, it's administrative, it's an issue that we can do through an act of parliament and all. And, or rather during the budgeting process. And the other thing that increases the cost of doing business,
right,
is corruption.
Okay.
Because today I need, and unfortunately, this corruption is not just in government. It has infiltrated even to the private sector. So I am going to provide a solution to an organization or to even government, and somebody is asking for a kickback. And that's, how do you live in a country of deals? How do you do business whereby you cannot, the market is not an open market? And I think, the corruption issue is a big issue. I believe it requires us to actually go back to the drawing board.
Yes.
I don't think any constitution will solve this issue because it's an issue of morals. We become too greedy, and I would say it is scarcity mentality, whereby you believe that you can't have enough for yourself and for everybody else. So you want to amass as much as possible.
Yes.
So when you see Eunice coming to KTN News, you're seeing how much you can get, but not the value that Eunice business is going to add to your business.
Absolutely.
And that increases the cost of business. I went to Kigali last year and I met some guys who told me that the phone company that has been started in Kigali, I can't remember the name of that company, that they first landed in Kenya.
Yeah.
And they even got down to start manufacturing the smartphones. And the bribes they were asked for put them off.
Yes. We have a corruption problem, Eunice. Now, unfortunately, we've run out of time, so I'd like briefly, Dr. Eksen Iraqi, please give us your closing comments, then I'll come back to you, Eunice, for your closing remarks.
I think giving young men incentives to start business is a very far-sighted and very well-informed decision.
Yes.
But I think the way to make young men enterprising is not just to give them tax holidays.
Yeah.
The most important thing is to make them realize that entrepreneurship is a legitimate business. It is not something you go to because you have failed elsewhere. And it is also honorable, it is prestigious, and it is cool. So let's start telling young men and women, right from the time they are young, that being enterprising is noble. And let's tune them by giving them the right skills, the right knowledge, and very important, inviting them that the most important thing in entrepreneurship is being innovative.
Okay.
Coming up with new ideas, nurturing it, up the time it become an enterprise. And soon, we need to start having a lot of companies being floated on the stock exchange. Kenyans must start enjoying our multinationals like Toyota, IBM, Microsoft, and so on. Thank you.
Now, Eunice, over to you.
Yeah, so yes, as Dr. said, it's a very good idea to incentivize the youth to get into business. However, let's, number one, make corruption very expensive so that I know if I take a bribe or I give a bribe, punishment is so expensive because many people are not corrupt either because they have not had an opportunity or the cost is very expensive. So let's make it very expensive to be corrupt so that then we reduce the cost of doing business. And number two, I would say we need to have apprenticeship whereby the young people are incubated in organizations, and the government, I know there is the issue for interns where government is incentivizing businesses to accept interns, and we need to take it a notch higher and make it even in schools, whereby in the curriculum is part and parcel. Doing business is part of the curriculum, whereby they are given practicals to actually start businesses. And then the other thing is we need local capital, local money to come from, not just that we are thinking about investing in properties and land, but we need to make startups, or rather to see startups a way to invest in Kenya. All this just require a change of mind. It does not require a document. It's just a change, a mind shift.
Right, and a running theme from this discussion this morning is that we might not need a referendum necessarily to implement some of these good things that would help young people and anyone really who is looking to get into business. Thank you very much, Dr. Eksen Iraqi. He's an economist, and Eunice Mainamburu is the CEO of and founder of Bismart, an insurance technology company, and author of the book Sell Me This Pen. Thank you very much for your perspectives. Now let's shift gears to some news stories. Now, Kenyan lawyer Paul Gishuru has surrendered to the International Criminal Court over